Where's Deshaun kind of relative in his rehab to where you would hope he would be if he wasn't going through a rehab?
No, yeah, I think rehab versus non-rehab wise, obviously the reps. He's not getting the live reps out there on some of those 7-on-7 periods and things like that we're doing. But I think Kevin does a great job the way he structures practice in the off-season program. One, with the rules and doing what we're allowed, but then two, that really allows Deshaun now to get some reps too, from not just strictly standing back behind a mental space. So I think it's a really good combination right now of him getting mental reps, him getting some of the live reps, quote unquote live reps that he can get in a more of a jog through tempo, and then obviously the routes and the throwing when he can't get in it on his throwing days.
Now that you're out here on the grass, even though what you just said, how will your offense can get the most out of Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a constant evaluation to make sure we're doing the right things. That's part of developing an offense and coaching, to making sure we're maximizing our personnel as much as possible. And of course, that starts with Deshaun. So we're constantly going to be evaluating that, making sure we're doing the right things, especially as he gets out there and those reps continue to grow from a full speed standpoint.
Ken, when you see him throw the ball, like today was the first time we saw him live, and it looked good, but have you seen him, I guess, really push it with the arm?
Yeah, I think each day, it just keeps going, and so I think that's part of this process, and it is a process. We went through a similar thing in Carolina with Cam coming off of shoulder surgery, where we had to make sure we were monitoring distance of throws. Couldn't go past a certain yardage. How many throws he's making in practice. All those things were basically throughout the entire year. So I think where he's at right now is kind of in that process right now. And as he gets more and more comfortable, and part of that's just the mental side of things too, that, I can start really opening it up more and more because of the confidence in it, So I think there's a lot of that involved with it as well. But you see him continue, like each day, ramping it up a little bit more and more. He threw the ball down the sideline, a vertical throw today, and that's one I hadn't seen, from him a lot, because we haven't pushed him to do that. So that was good to see. So I think the more he grows and feels comfortable with it, the more you'll start seeing those things get ramped up more and more.
Ken, does it make your evaluation and putting the system in a little bit more challenging, knowing he's not at 100% and it's kind of a day-by-day situation?
I think that's a good question. I think what we're trying to do right now is, because of his situation, obviously, he's trying to get all the reps he possibly can from a mental standpoint, but we still want to install the offense, and we still want to, get everybody else, involved up to speed. So that puts, a lot on us as coaches and in the quarterback room to make sure we're maximizing every learning tool possible, from the different camera angles to on the practice field, making sure we're talking, live as plays are going on and all that stuff. So, you don't want to limit, what you're installing just based off of, his availability, because, there's things that those other guys need to make sure they're getting reps on too.
Can the end product of your offense, how much would you estimate you'll be in shotgun versus under center?
Again, I think it's a conglomerate effort, and between Kevin, myself, the whole coaching staff, there's a lot of input on those types of things, not only from the pass game, but obviously the run game as well. So to put a number on that, I think the season is so fluid, and a lot of times you don't really know because of the way this, the league has evolved in terms of what you can and can't do in training camp and OTAs and things like that. A lot of times those things are evolving until week 3 or 4 of the season, and it's not truly like set in stone until you get a really good feel in true live game action. So to answer your question long about, I think it's still an evolving process to determine exactly where we want to be from a gun versus under ratio.
Ken, what have you seen from Jameis as he's taken those live reps just in practice last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think Jameis done a great job, and it's really encouraging. I think the most encouraging thing is the all right, if we make a mistake and we go in the room and correct it, you see that, being corrected the next day, on whether it's similar concepts, the same concept, whatever it is. So as a veteran guy who's played a lot of football and seen a lot of things, it's not like he's not open to the coaching and not open to the evolution of his game, and kind of how maybe we do things a little different than what he's used to. So he's done a great job from a leadership standpoint, from a execution standpoint, continuing to grow, and then taking what we're talking in there onto the grass.
And how much does your personal experience as being an NFL quarterback and, of course, college help you in your job as offensive?
I think it's a good question. I like to think it does help because, when you're watching film and you're watching it from the side view and the back view and that wide angle, things look so different than from that perspective from under center. And it's like, oh, why, just throw that. Well, it's like, from that view, it doesn't look the same all the time as that wide angle view, and when you can rewind it a few times and everything. So I think there's a understanding of some things are realistic, some things aren't from a what you ask those guys to do standpoint sometimes, and then just the understanding of, hey, comfort level of that position is so important. They got to feel comfortable and confident in what they're doing because they're the ones pulling the trigger at the end of the day. So we got to make sure we're getting those guys to that point where they feel 100% ready to go and rip it and just able to react and not think about things.
Why do you like using?
Go ahead.
Why do you like using those the choice routes that you have in your system? And I see Elijah over there talking. How do you think he kind of fits in?
Yeah, I think we continue again. That's part of us finding out who if guys feel comfortable doing that. Because some guys have that feel, and then other guys, right? It's just not part of their forte. So I think that's the good part is like right now. We're getting different guys doing it, whether it's choice routes, whether it's deep balls, inside route, whatever those concepts are, to see who feels comfortable and who's got that knack for running certain things. So Elijah's been coming out doing a great job, whether it's those types of concepts or just winning one-on-one matchups on a slant or a go ball or whatever. So that's part of that this feeling out process and evaluation process. For us as new coaches, and then for us as we evolve in our offense.
Is there, along the lines with those choice routes, is there a challenge as a coach teaching, making sure that the quarterback and the receiver are seeing the same thing and are on the same page? Because it feels like there's a danger of the quarterback would see one thing and the receiver see something different.
And to answer your question, yes. I mean, it takes reps. It takes them talking about it. It takes watching film. There's so many different aspects of, not only those routes, but a lot of different routes within the system. So, to answer your question, there's a lot of communication there. When we had Cole in Buffalo, there was an adjustment period, and getting on the same page. Like that first year was like, oh, is this gonna work? Because it just takes time for quarterback and receiver to get on the same page on some of those feel routes.
Ken, bigger picture, as you and Kevin have rebuilt the offense and really just put your system into play, how helpful are OTAs, even though I know there's no contact, but being able to get reps on film and being able to actually see it play out on
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're watching tape or you're walking through and all that stuff, that is great, but to get live reps is huge. And in whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter the system. So yes, I think to be able to get out here, get live reps, to be able to teach off of, guys see it, things are happening fast. I mean, our defense is darn good. So, things happen fast out there for those guys. So there's a teaching aspect of it. And I think the way you worded it was perfect. It's not my system. It's not Kevin's. It's our system. You know what I mean? And so we're developing our system. And these reps right now are invaluable for us.
Thanks, Ken.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Hey. Focus on what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that I was the #1 pick. I'm grateful that I went through some adversity year 5. I'm grateful that I got to learn from a Hall of Fame head coach and a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm grateful that I ended up being here with a storied franchise, a culture franchise with an elite fan base. So I'm focused on what I'm grateful for.
Is the offense you're learning here under Dorsey, is it unique to you, or have you been exposed to some elements of it in other teams?
I've been exposed to a few concepts, but the way that he's put it in has been world class, and I really have just became immersed with learning because there's a lot of new verbiage for me in terms of protections and formations. So I'm just excited to learn and continue to master this offense.
Jameis, one of the things in this offense is the choice routes with the receivers. Could you just touch on, from your perspective, the importance of the communication with the receivers and the challenge of, learning what they're seeing and matching it up with what you're seeing so that there aren't any miscommunications when that comes into play?
The choice routes is one of those routes where you have to be on the same page. When you just think of the name of the route, it's a choice, it's an option. So they are always right, but what we're doing now is developing that trust, and I think Coach Schwartz is doing an amazing job of giving our receivers different looks. So they're not anticipating something, they're actually having to read and react, and we're just getting a lot of good reps at it.
How exciting. I was going to ask you about choice routes too, just as a quarterback to kind of have that. I know there's certain keys that you're looking for as a receiver and as a guy throwing the ball, but that improvisational aspect of those routes, and how exciting is that?
Well, I think that challenges the offense to continue to be on the same page, and it allows us to have more communication, have more film time together, trust and commitment to one another, because we have to be accountable for the decision that we make. And I think I just give a huge credit to the defense, because with choice routes, if you're seeing the same coverage, you kind of get comfortable making the same decision. But when you're seeing different things, they're able to learn and grow and continue to learn and grow.
So you've been around Deshaun as much as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen as he's gone through this recovery process and then out there, throwing the ball a bunch?
I've seen intentional leadership of him taking mental reps like he is one of the best quarterbacks in this league. I've seen a consistent growth in just him focusing on his shoulder routine, focusing on building that strength back. And when he throws it, he spins it. So I haven't seen anything of lack. I've just seen him just continue to grow, continue to lead these guys, because it's challenging when you're not getting the reps. It's challenging to have a presence when you're sitting back from afar watching. And he's done an incredible job just staying locked in, staying focused. I see him, I smile when he's communicating to the receivers in the back, communicating to the offensive lines, talking protections, because that is football, and he's not missing a beat.
Jameis, off of that, you talked about a little bit having some sort of history with Deshaun prior to coming here. Now that you guys are on the field together, though, just how has your guys' relationship developed even more?
Well, it's continuing to grow, and that trust and commitment is starting to come in just between us, just regular conversations, not just about football, but about life, about increase.
You see a big reason why you wanted to come here?
Absolutely. A big reason that I wanted to come here, because the opportunity was here for me to serve and to give to my teammates. And him being one of the best quarterbacks in this league, being a quarterback that I have had to see him grow as a #1 draft pick and just see his ascension as a player, I have familiarity with that. So it's an honor to serve him.
James, outside of obviously learning the offensive system, but what have you learned about Ken Dorsey over the last month or so?
Well, the most important thing I learned is that, Miami Hurricanes aren't that bad. But really, I've really enjoyed his coaching presence. What we do on the field in terms of drill work has been fine work. One of my favorite quarterback coaches that worked with Peyton Manning, Clyde Christensen, Mike Bajakian, they always worked on the feet. And I'm just so happy that is what he's emphasizing with his feet, with his timing, and also him installing the plays, him calling the plays. Man, he's definitely been in this position. It seems as if he's been in this position before, and I'm just happy that we're able to communicate. And it's very important to me because this is a new offense for me. So us communicating, me continuing to learn, and him being tough on us and challenging us to get better, challenging us to be quicker and faster, it's truly been a blessing.
You talked about, the pressure that Deshaun must be feeling right now and how you have that pressure being the number 1 overall pick. Have you instilled any advice on him? And if you did, can you share that?
Absolutely. Focus on today. There's nothing more important than winning today. It's times where he's not throwing, right? Focus on today. Focus on your healing. It's times when he's out there lining it up throwing. Focus on the day. Do your best. And I've been so impressed with how he's continued to stay locked in and focused, even when he's not in. I think we, as a unit, we've done a great job of allowing him to get the reps, the mental reps that he deserves because it's his. But I've been so impressed with him and how he's just been going about each day. I mean, it's not like I didn't expect it, but our conversation has been, hey man, continue to do what you're doing because you're doing an amazing job at it.
You mentioned that you played just about every role as a quarterback, so how do you view your role heading into this?
Continue to serve and inspire and be prepared when the time is required for me to go out there and execute to the best of my ability. But I'm here to be a man of increase and to inspire my teammates and to encourage us to communicate, to be together and be the best that we can be.
Jameis, what was more fun, the PGA or the Derby?
What was fun was really getting a chance to be in Louisville and spend time with my family. My great aunt turned 70 last year, and she wanted to go to the Derby. That was on her bucket list. She didn't make it to PGA National with the championship with me, but both was quite fun. I just love being with my family and experiencing greatness, man. Seeing those horses and those jockeys and seeing those golfers like up close. I've been to a few golf tournaments. I really ain't pay attention, but with this being a championship, I wanted to witness greatness, and it happened.
You were pretty excited when Scotty came by.
Well, he was battling a little adversity, man. He continued to play, and golf is a very mental game. So just the things that was going around, you could easily be deterred. You can kind of make the quarterback position is very similar to just a golf player, like you don't determine what's going on around you, but you have decisions and you have to be decisive and you just have to continue to play with the next swing.
Are you a good player?
I am not a great player.
You play?
I do. I compete. I can't say like I stopped playing because I just was getting, I wasn't to my caliber, right? I wasn't elite at it, but I have won 2 longest drive competitions. So y'all come out to the golf tournament next Monday. I'll have some for you.
Take a couple more.
James, I was curious. There was a report that the NFLPA was proposing a change to the offseason workout program. Just from your perspective, like, how would you feel about that if you kind of scrapped spring and reported the training camp?
Yeah, we have a lot of men and women who have came before me that are making these decisions for the betterment of these NFL players. Me personally, man, whatever is required, I'm willing and able to do. Again, I'm grateful for this opportunity, but that's something that I have to continue to look at, and I'm sure me and my teammates in the PA will continue to discuss that so it can be for the best of our fellow players.
Some players seem to be taken aback by that news coming out this week. So does the PA discuss or consult with you guys on this, or is this a situation where they're coming up with a plan independent of you as players, your input?
A lot of the PA's references are players or officials that have experienced the NFL from a wide perspective, who have been in it for a long time. So I definitely trust their intellect, but as I said, I would love to dive into that myself before I give you a firm answer on that.
As a quarterback, you're expected to be a leader. That's kind of the position, right? But how helpful is it when other guys kind of come into their own in different positions on both sides of the ball, even on special teams?
The more leaders you have, the better. right? Anytime that you have people that are willing to stand out in front, be accountable, dependable, incredible, you have a great team.
What inspired the no shoes at the podium today?
Well, grounding, we got to take in the sunlight, you got to be connected with the earth because God gave us a beautiful day out here to just be immersed with and be one with and be present. Yeah.
Y'all good?
All right. Y'all be easy.
Appreciate you, Jameis.
It's like those beach pictures of the boat.